Meow. 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 Meow.
It's been 5 years and 113 races, but Kimi Räikkönen has finally won a race in Formula 1 2018, adding his name to the second Ferrari driver who's won a race this year. It really was unbelievable. It was a good race to watch and an amazing fit by him. We all thought he was going to be supporting Sebastian Vettel, making sure that the championship standings got a little bit more grippier in his hands after he spun and had a bad race himself. But yeah, he has to come through and deliver on a good race. Obviously, one of the oldest drivers in Formula 1, going to Sauber next year, obviously very much kind of doubting on his future, and he goes and does something like that. It's been really, really amazing. I say 113 races since he won in Melbourne 2013, and I thought it was great to see him on the podium, kind of cracking a smile and kind of enjoying that moment. Obviously, it was a few days after his birthday as well, so that was really good from him. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton didn't win the championship in the United States. Obviously, it moves on to our next round, a back-to-back race, obviously heading south down into Mexico City, obviously in Mexico, for the circuit Hermanos Rodriguez, obviously the Mexican Grand Prix in Mexico City. Great circuit, obviously a street circuit around the baseball complex. It's been really, really amazing since it's been added to the Formula 1 calendar. And obviously it's a Mercedes heavy circuit. We could be seeing that again, but we'll have to see what happens. But obviously in this episode we are going to be talking about one of the drivers who is on the Mercedes Junior program at the moment, obviously driving for a Mercedes team in Force India, and that obviously is Esteban Ocon. Really good driver. Obviously he was brought in with Man in Russia, obviously a Mercedes partner back then, obviously driven through Force India, obviously Mercedes bound, and we're going to be talking about some of the rumours that has been around him in terms of his future, where he's going to go, and obviously is he going to leave Formula 1, is he going to go into something else? Obviously there was a rumour a few months ago that he was going to leave to IndyCar, but is he going to stay in Formula 1, and what is going to happen with his career? Now obviously the first thing is that he is going to be going to Williams. Now obviously the big thing, before I start with his news, is obviously that Lance Stroll, as you know, his dad, Lawrence Stroll, owns Force India. Now obviously he took over with a few other guys, but obviously he is the main stakeholder. He now becomes the CEO, obviously taking over from Vijay Mallya, and he now owns Racing Point Force India. So obviously that happened a few months ago, obviously just before the Belgian Grand Prix, and obviously at that point we were all thinking, well, everyone was almost knowing that Lance Stroll obviously was going to leave Williams and obviously go and join his dad at Force India. I mean, why wouldn't you? Your dad runs the team, it's a bit of nepotism, he is going to support you. Obviously, of course, Lance is going to leave Williams, a struggling team. Obviously, they've been at the back of the grid more times than you can count, more times than Pastor Malnauda's crashed. Lance was going to go to going to go to Force India, and obviously join his dad, obviously running the scene. Now, obviously, where then was Esteban Ocon going to go? Obviously, the drivers obviously working out, where each of the drivers was going to go. Now, obviously, the big story about him, he wasn't going to leave Formula 1. Obviously, he's too big of a talent, not going to just be put on the sidelines. So, obviously, one of the big stories is about him going to Williams. Obviously, then it would just be it would be a trade-off, obviously, with Lance Stroll at Williams. Now, obviously, big thing about Williams is obviously their lack of progression. Obviously in the last few races, obviously they're really, really struggling as a constructor. Obviously Lance is kind of leaving, he hasn't, Lance might be leaving at the best time. Obviously Esteban will be going there obviously to support Williams. Obviously the big thing is obviously that they are a Mercedes junior team. Obviously they use a Mercedes engine, they are a Mercedes team to get that support. And obviously I think that will be a good move for him, and mainly that he'd just be sticking with that Mercedes program, because obviously what he wants to do is to go to Mercedes in the next few years. And obviously with Lewis Hamilton, he's not getting on, but obviously he's been in Formula 1 over 10 years now. Obviously Valtteri Bottas has been there since 2017. Obviously he is, he's doing progression, but obviously is he the right guy to stay at Mercedes? That's debatable for another episode. As I say, Lewis Hamilton, he's most likely going to take 5 this weekend. How long is he going to stay in Formula 1? Obviously he's got a contract till 2020, but many drivers do, like Nico Rosberg did. But obviously you can leave them whenever you want. So what's he going to do? Is Esteban, worth staying around for Mercedes? Does he think he's going to get the drive there? He's definitely backed by Mercedes. And if he goes to Williams, obviously another Mercedes program team, Are they going to have that spot? Is he going to have that chance to then finally get to Mercedes in the next few years? Obviously, depending on what Hamilton or Bottas does, he could become the third place driver or what have you. Does he have a chance to stay in at Force India? Obviously, alongside, obviously with Lance Stroll's dad, or would he be best to go? To Williams, obviously, which is the most popular kind of thing that he has. That it might be happening at the moment. I think moving to Williams, obviously, a Mercedes team would be a good move for them. Obviously, they need a lot of support. Obviously, they've been struggling, as I say, the constructor, and obviously the main thing is, alongside George Russell, that would be a great addition. That would be a really good pairing. Obviously, then I'm almost sure that Esteban could then say, right, I am the leader of the team, and he could then finally be the leader of the team, not in Checo's shadow, and then obviously lead Williams hopefully to some good points. So Jordan, obviously bringing you in for the first time, obviously Esteban might be going to Williams, obviously trading out a straight swap for Lance Stroll. Obviously, would this be a good move for him? Obviously, as you know, he's trying to get into a Mercedes seat, obviously Mercedes engine, Mercedes program, and obviously he'd be alongside George Russell, most likely the leader of the team. He'd have more influence in the team, obviously more dominance, and do you think it would be a good move for him to go to Williams?
I think it would be very good for Esteban Ocon if he actually can jump ship and go to Williams, because I think it's crazy that we are actually discussing and having this conversation about, is Esteban Ocon going to be in Formula 1 next season, because he's a really, really good driver. He's a nice guy as well. He's one of the friendliest on the grid. He's got that the resemblance of Daniel Ricciardo, of his bubbly, smiley atmosphere, but obviously maybe not as colourful as Daniel Ricciardo is, because Esteban Ocon is more like keeping himself to himself, but he is quite smiley. He's very nice. Very nice guy. It has been ever since he came into Formula 1 back in 2016, as Lyle was saying with Manor. And it is absolutely crazy that we are having to discuss this and have this debate that we've had probably since this whole situation with Force India, the financial situation with Force India first occurred, because when Lawrence Stroll was announced that he was going to be taking over from the team, it was immediately that, right, okay, Lance is going to jump ship from Williams and go to Force India with his dad. We've had this discussion before, I think a couple of episodes ago, about the whole situation with Lawrence buying Force India. So obviously we all know that Lance eventually will go to Force India, leaving a seat available at Williams, which obviously Esteban Ocon is linked with. But not only him, there's another two drivers along that seat with him as well, which is Robert Kubica and Sergei Sorokin, their current driver. So, I mean, for me, I would want Esteban Ocon in that seat, because he's a brilliant driver. As we were saying, he's a nice guy. There's a big future of him in Formula 1, and to have a season out would be a disaster, not only for him, but for the whole of Formula 1 in general. And it will just also highlight the bad state that Formula 1 is in right now in terms of drivers. Yes, we have got some brilliant young guns coming through next season, but that's not going to glaze over the fact that we still have another driver possibly not being in Formula 1 because of two paid drivers being on the grid next season. That's not Formula 1. That's not what Formula 1 is about. The core of Formula 1 is anyways. Obviously, one day Formula 1, it's all about these paid drivers and stuff. And I know that people have been saying, oh, George Russell is getting money given to Williams and stuff and blah blah blah. Yes, I know that. I know he's there because of the money as well. But Sergei Sorokin is more money than driver. I would say Russell is more talent than money. So, I mean, it would be silly for Williams to back Sorokin and get him in next season. Now, we do know that Williams are losing out on the Martini deal at the end of 2018, which is going to be a big loss in terms of finance for them. And a team that desperately needs some money from somewhere. And obviously, to keep Sergei would make sense financially, but driver-wise, to be fair, it just wouldn't. And if they do go with Sergei, it would just be like, well, what's he going to do now? Everyone was putting their hopes on Esteban Ocon to go to Williams for next season, to maybe have like a stand-in year, let's say, and maybe possibly go to Mercedes in 2020 or in 2021. Who knows? Because we know that Hamilton's got a contract that expires in 2020. Bottas has got a year's contract that lasts until at the end of 2019. So there is a possibility that Esteban Ocon could end up in a Mercedes at some point. But that's for another story. So, as I was saying before, it is wrong that we are having this discussion that Esteban Ocon may or may not be without a seat. Obviously, let us know your opinions in the comment section below. Why is this happening? Should this even be happening? Should Williams just bite the bullet and go, right, we'll get Sergey out and we'll bring Ocon in because he's a better driver. Now, in terms of the team's mortality, and obviously their new driver in George Russell will learn a lot more from Ocon than he will from Sergey and possibly Robert Kubica. Now, Robert Kubica is a good driver. He won't be nowhere near as good as what he was 10 seasons ago. Now, obviously, he had that horrific hand injury that's kept him out of Formula 1. He's come back as a testing driver role. Obviously, he's been linked with that seat ever since he got appointed that role. Everyone wants him back in Formula 1, but let's be realistic. He's not going to be the Robert Kubica that we knew and loved. He's just going to be, I don't know, a second-hand Robert Kubica, let's say. And obviously, I mean, he could learn a bit from Russell, but I don't think Kubica is the answer to take Williams forward. Neither is Sergey. I think if you bring in Ocon for maybe a year or so, 2 years, to give him to wait for a seat, that for one of the big teams, obviously more noticeably Mercedes, and it'll be cheaper for Williams to get Ocon in as well because Williams have got a Mercedes engine at the back. Obviously, Ocon being part of the Mercedes junior program, obviously you'll get him for cheaper or whatever, or maybe get him a cheaper engine deal. So obviously there's a lot of confusion as to what the hell is going on with Esteban Ocon. If he's not in Formula 1 next season, it'll be a big disaster. It'll be a big loss, and then it'll just kind of show how Formula 1 is looking more towards these paid drivers more so than talent. So it will be a real shame. Now, obviously, you could have went on to another sporting series for a season, like in Super Formula, like what Stoffel Van Dorn did, or and obviously Pierre Gasly, or you could have went on to DTM, which probably would have been more realistic. But obviously, Mercedes are pulling out of the DTM program. I think they already have. I think the season ended. I think they've already pulled out of it now. So obviously that's out the question. Obviously they are forming a Formula E team at some point. I think they've already got one. I think they've got like one that Stoffel Van Dorn is going for. But if he doesn't get a seat with Williams and he's left without a seat, okay, he might take a reserve role at Mercedes. But McLaren driver Stoffel Van Dorn could end up having that role because he's going to drive for their Formula E team next season, and there's a big rumours that he's going to play in links with that third driver role, which I wouldn't see the point in that because he'll only get a role because of obviously being in Formula E. I would like to have Ocon in that reserve driver role and hopefully promote him when Hamilton or Bottas decide to leave. That's my opinion anyway. So I would prefer Ocon to be in a Mercedes test driver role should he not have a seat with Williams next season. Now, Channel 4's Eddie Jordan pretty much pinned Claire Williams to the ground and said, look, you are going to sign Esteban Ocon. I don't care whether you like it or not, you will sign him, just by basically confirming, saying, okay, we know the deal's done, but when's it going to be announced? And Claire just obviously like, as she does, just brushes it away. And it was a bit like, it was almost a bit awkward to watch. And you're like, well, I don't think the deal's there. I think Williams could have also been, in a way, pressured into signing Esteban Ocon because he was never really considered as a driver until I'll probably say about a month ago when obviously when George Russell was in that seat and obviously the future of Esteban Ocon was becoming like less and less less and less certain he's going to be in Formula 1 next season. So obviously immediately turn to Williams and go, look, employ him, get him in now. And Williams were like, look, we want Sergey, but we're gonna have to employ Esteban Ocon here, and the finances might take a turn for the worse. But I really don't know what is the best for the best of Williams. That's what Williams are going to have to go for. What's the best for them? Get a paid driver in to get them some extra cash, or get in a talent driver and maybe push them up the grid just a bit further. Because I reckon Esteban Ocon can get an extra few tenths out of that car than what Sergey Sorokin can. So for me, Esteban Ocon must go to Williams. He has to for Formula 1's sake, and hopefully he will be in a big car next season. So yeah, that's pretty much it on that. But obviously, as I was saying before about this whole Martini deal coming to an end, it has been announced that Rich Energy is going to actually come into Formula 1 after big rumours that they were going to take over from Force India before Lawrence Stroll did. Obviously, they were going to buy their own team, Rich Energy F1. I pretty much just brushed over these rumours as I'm not really bothered about this. I don't know if this is true. I've never heard of this company before. A UK brand. I've never heard of them, Rich Energy, before. I thought it was just all fake. And then I heard that potentially they could go to Williams because, as I said, Martini are dropping out the sponsors, they're dropping from the title sponsors. So I thought, okay, this is a bit more realistic. This could help Williams obviously push up further up the grid and have a bit of a livery change. But it's been announced this week that they're going to Haas. I mean, I did not expect that whatsoever. I seen this guy sent, I think it was an F1 journalist, just say, Rich Energy is to become the Haas title sponsor from 2019. And I thought, right, whatever. This is posted like 23 minutes ago. I go on the Haas Twitter account and there it is in black and white, or black and gold if you want to call it that. I'm thinking like, right, this is a bit random. So, where does this leave? Where does this leave Rich Energy? Rich Energy know this because they have ambitions to set up their own Formula 1 team at some point. But obviously, at first, they'll be doing what Red Bull did with Sauber. I think it was in 1999, I think, when they first came to the sport. Obviously, teamed up with Sauber, got the logo on the car, and eventually in 2005 purchased Jaguar F1 and bought their own team. Rich Energy could be doing the same sort of thing and maybe putting the toes into the water of Formula 1 and kind of saying, okay, the future does look okay for Formula 1. Do we, what should we do? Should we just sponsor teams, or should we make our own team? I really don't know. So it is good for Haas because therefore a lot more money injection will become into the team. A livery change is most definitely on the card. I'm thinking more of a 2013 Lotus livery, obviously the black and gold and the little bit of red on the side, which is a beautiful, beautiful livery, probably one of the best we've seen in modern day Formula 1. I do miss that livery, so I'm expecting that livery from next season. But that's not the main kind of story from this. I'm talking about what I said before about the Rich Energy possibly going to Williams, and they haven't, which has just left Williams in a massive, massive sinkhole of, right, okay, we could employ, as I said before, they could employ Esteban Ocon and kind of let the financial status of that team just drop even further, and then obviously losing out on the Rich Energy deal. So it is a bit of a disastrous few months for Williams, let's say, and obviously we don't know how this is going to progress into the future. Claire Williams keeps saying, next season will be better, next season will be better. But next season is never better though, Claire, so come on, wake up, you need to find these deals, you need to stiff up these deals. Zach Brown even said, obviously the director of McLaren, said, we don't need a title sponsor. Yous do. We need a title sponsor in that team because we're going nowhere. Where's that money going? We've got nothing on the car, we need a title sponsor, as does Williams. Obviously missing out on that deal, that's going to be key for them. So obviously, Lyle, I know your kind of second team almost, or like your team on the side is Haas. So obviously, what's your opinion on this deal? And is this a big kick in the goolies for Williams missing out on possibly a lot of money coming into the team for next season? So obviously they've missed out on that deal. So what's your opinions on all this?
I don't think it's a miss for Williams because obviously it was never really kind of rumoured that Rich were going to go to Williams, but obviously I know what you mean. Obviously Martini stepping out obviously very soon at the end of the year from Williams. Obviously one of their big sponsors. Obviously we know that big title sponsors have obviously taken teams before. Obviously like Hype is sponsored obviously Force India now, obviously it's Racing Point. Obviously big brands have taken, obviously like for example Coca-Cola have just taken McLaren and things like that. And obviously in terms of Williams' financial state, obviously one of the things that I was thinking, and I'm not too sure how it works. Obviously, that Lance Stroll's money, obviously how it's going into Williams, obviously with his dad still, and now at Force India. But obviously Williams, will be using the money from Lance Stroll because obviously I know that he brings a lot of money across, obviously from his Canadian backers and things like that. So obviously with the departure of him, almost like the departure of him, obviously to Force India, obviously alongside his dad, Williams will obviously be missing that money, and obviously they will need a title sponsor. And obviously with Hype energy drinks, obviously which me and John have both got from obviously from our visit to the Force India garage. Obviously with the sponsor of them, obviously sponsoring Force India, obviously Williams need to get someone on board. Obviously it doesn't have to be, it could be another alcoholic drink like Smirnoff, for example, that used to sponsor Force India. But Rich Energy, sponsoring Haas, as you mentioned, I think that's really good, and that's really, really good for them. Obviously they don't really have a title sponsor. I think Haas, have really kind of gone at it alone. And again, obviously, as you say, I've never really heard of them before, but if they're a US company, obviously what a great way, of branding, obviously, because Formula 1 is, mainly European sport, obviously, but we also go around the world, obviously another kind of promotion, obviously, for when we get back into the US and things like that. And I think, it could be really, really good. Obviously, I've seen the logo just from the photo that we shared. Obviously, it looks really, really good. Yeah, and I think they're a good sponsor for them, obviously, especially as I say, US brand, obviously, getting their sponsor out for that. And again, Haas, obviously, as you know, America very patriotic. They'll want to kind of sponsor themselves, really. Obviously, let Which Energy get the writing all over the cars. And as you say, John, I think that there will be like a 2013 Lotus kind of look to them. The black and gold, and yeah, I think that's going to be really good. Great partnership going. But in terms of Williams' money, I don't really know. They haven't announced that they're going to have a title sponsor on board. Obviously, I know for a fact that Martini have had a bit of a shaky relationship with Williams because of, obviously, it all started with Lance Stroll. Obviously, what was he, 18 when he came in, obviously with the drinking age. Obviously in the UK and most of Europe it's 18, but obviously in the United States and in Canada it has to be 21. So obviously Martini had to take off their branding, obviously, for Lance, and they had to make loads of changes, which obviously they didn't want to, obviously, especially when they've got things like the Middle Eastern races, obviously like Baku and Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, that they've got to take off their advertising for that. So just another thing that Martini had to do, obviously, for Lance. So I know that was a bit of a shaky start for that. And yeah, they need to really find some kind of sponsor for that. Obviously, that won't fix all the problems, but obviously that's a big thing. I don't know what kind of money Esteban Ocon brings with him, but obviously any money is good money, and obviously Williams will definitely want to use that. Again, with George Russell, obviously I know that he has a lot of Mercedes backing as well. Obviously there's a big prize for winning Formula 2. Obviously he's going to win the Formula 2 World Championship very, very soon. Obviously it's only a matter of time. Obviously then when he goes into Williams, he'll have a lot of money to support the team as well. But then yeah, it's a main sponsor for that. But obviously with Esteban Ocon, whatever money he brings, obviously from France and again the Mercedes program, will definitely help Williams in their search for a title sponsor. And obviously we don't really know who that's going to be. Rich Energy are already signed in, and in terms of them, I can't wait to see if they're going to expand into Formula 1, because obviously they're a big brand, big name that are coming into Formula 1 now, and it's exciting for Haas. But no, it's going to be very exciting for Haas now moving forward. Obviously big US company, or a growing US company even. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what they can do, because obviously they had a bit of a shaky year. 2016 was brilliant for them. 2017 just average. This year just average again, and I think 2019 could be their year as well, especially retaining their both drivers. And avoiding this silly season of a market. They've retained both their drivers, which obviously is really, really good for them. And yeah, I think they're going to have a good season with this title sponsor. Yeah, so obviously that was some big news about Esteban Ocon and obviously Williams. What are they going to do for next season? Obviously, where's he going to go? But he is a big talent, like we were saying, and obviously he can't afford to not be in Formula 1 or some type of race in Formula. Anyway, guys, so obviously that is the end of the episode. Obviously, thank you very much for watching. Again, a bit of a short episode, but two kind of topics that could break into something obviously a lot bigger, and obviously that is where is Esteban going to go for next year. Obviously, the Mexican Grand Prix tomorrow, obviously very, very big for that. Hamilton is most likely going to win the World Championship. If Hamilton finishes seventh position or highest, obviously seventh to first, Vettel can finish anywhere. He can win the race, but Hamilton will win the World Championship. So basically, Hamilton is 99% going to win. Yep. The only way Vettel can bring the title fight to Brazil, the penultimate round, is if Vettel wins the race and Hamilton finishes in 8th place or lower. So obviously the chances of that, touch wood obviously, are obviously very, 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 very slim. But we wish both of them because being very good, and obviously again we're really shocked that that had to happen in the US. Obviously Raikkonen winning, and obviously Hamilton finishes in 3rd and Vettel 4th, and that they kept the title fight going to this race. It really is amazing. I don't think it's going to stay to Brazil. I think it's going to be ended in Mexico. Just quickly, John, do you think it's going to go on to Brazil, or do you think it's going to be settled in Mexico this weekend?
Well, I was very surprised it wasn't even in the US, so I think it has to be Mexico. I mean, he needs 5 points to win the championship. So with at the moment 75 to play for, it's just inevitable that Hamilton's going to win the 5th World Championship. But as we were saying in the previous episode, this is really, really good to see whether you're a Hamilton fan or not. To be honest with you, because I think we are seeing history here. 5 World Championships. It's only been done twice by 2 other drivers, and Fangio, who's won 5, and obviously Schumacher, who's won 7. So joining that elite group of drivers will just be amazing for Lewis Hamilton as well. And he's actually overtaken Sebastian Vettel. When he joined Mercedes, it was 4-1 to Sebastian Vettel. Now it'll be 5-4 to Lewis Hamilton, which is pretty crazy to even think about, bearing in mind how dominant Red Bull and Vettel was, and how everyone was talking about, Vettel's going to emulate Schumacher's record here, and then everyone was kind of questioning Hamilton's career as if like, well, you've won one World Championship in 8 years at McLaren, or 6 years at McLaren, I can't remember what. Then he goes to Mercedes and obviously just blows everyone out the water. And now he's going to be the one to beat all the records of Michael Schumacher. So for me, it has to be Mexico. If you are going to Mexican Grand Prix, well, enjoy it, to be honest with you, whether you're a Hamilton fan or not, to see obviously a 5-time world champion being crowned. So, yeah.
Yeah, it will be absolutely amazing. It'll be the same as last year, obviously. It'll be the same as last year. Obviously, Hamilton got 4 last year. And yeah, this will be a really amazing thing. The only thing is, obviously, Vettel can get another chance next year, hopefully gain another touchwood moment. But the big thing is, obviously, Hamilton's already proven himself to win with McLaren and Mercedes, obviously, two big teams. I always remember Matt Schumacher, obviously hearing Matt Schumacher thing that was like, he showed that he just didn't win all of his championships with Ferrari, to show that they had a dominant car. He also won his two with Benetton, so that is a big thing to do. Win with two other win with another constructor. Sorry, and obviously Vettel has just missed out this year because obviously he could have won with Red Bull and obviously with Ferrari. I definitely think that is something that he needs to hope that he can do before he retires from Formula One, because obviously that is a big thing. I know from reading up Michael Schumacher that was a big thing. That he couldn't just say he had dominant car Ferrari because he'd already won two at Benetton. But yeah, Mexico is going to be really, really special. And again, it's going to be the same as last year. I always remember the stadium section. It was a big celebration for, of course, the winner, who obviously was Max last year, and obviously Lewis Hamilton, who got crowned 4 last year, and he could be 5 tomorrow or this weekend. So thank you very much for watching this episode, guys. Obviously, if you like your content, make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down there, obviously letting us know what you think about Esteban Ocon, Williams, and obviously what about Lewis Hamilton this season. If you leave us a dislike, tell us why. Obviously, we like to hear all of our feedback, obviously constructive criticism as well. And obviously, till next time, guys, we'll see you later.
See you later, guys.